Title: My Husband Watched Me, Now I Get to Watch Him. True Infidelity Story, Safe Version. Emily Carter always thought her marriage to Michael was built on mutual trust, patience, and respect. They had been together for nearly 10 years, and during that time, they had learned to balance each other's differences. Emily was careful, a planner who loved routine, while Michael was spontaneous, adventurous, and always searching for something new to add excitement to their lives. It all started one quiet Saturday evening when Emily noticed Michael seemed distracted. They had invited their close friends, Rachel and David, for dinner. Everyone laughed and shared stories, but Emily could feel Michael's gaze lingering, not in a romantic way, but as though he was studying people, observing behaviors, almost as if he were trying to understand something deeper. She brushed it off, but that moment stayed with her. Later that night, as they were washing dishes together, Emily asked, "You were awfully quiet tonight. Is something wrong?" Michael smiled faintly. "Not wrong. Just thinking. I like watching how people interact. It tells me a lot about who they really are." Emily tilted her head. "You were watching me, weren't you?" He chuckled, drying his hands with a towel. "Always. I like seeing you through other people's eyes. It makes me fall in love all over again." Emily didn't know why those words hit her so strongly, but they did. For the first time, she realized that Michael found meaning in simply observing her, in seeing her kindness toward their friends, her laughter, and her warmth. She had always thought love was about grand gestures, but to him, even watching her was an act of love. Weeks later, Emily found herself at one of Michael's work events. He was a creative director at a marketing firm, and his company had organized a retreat in the countryside. There, Emily was given the chance to observe Michael in his world, confident, thoughtful, and passionate about his work. She sat in the back of the room, quietly taking in how he led discussions and encouraged his team. For the first time, Emily felt the same thing he had confessed to her weeks before: she loved watching him. It wasn't about possession or jealousy, it was about admiration, respect, and appreciation. One moment stuck with her. A young intern had made a mistake during a presentation, and Emily could see the panic on the intern's face. Michael, instead of scolding him, stepped in calmly, reframing the mistake as a learning opportunity. "Everyone slips up," he said warmly. "What matters is how we grow from it." Emily felt her heart swell. She realized that what Michael had been doing when he watched her was the same thing she was doing now, rediscovering love in a new, deeper way. But then came the test. One evening, Emily discovered a message on Michael's phone. It wasn't romantic, but it was personal. It was from Rachel, their mutual friend. The tone was casual but a bit too comfortable. "I really appreciate how you always listen to me. You're so easy to talk to, Michael." Emily felt her chest tighten. Had she misjudged their closeness? Was Michael giving too much of his emotional attention to someone else? That night, she couldn't sleep. She thought back to how Michael watched her, how he valued their bond. But now she had to face the question: what if his attention had shifted? The next morning, Emily confronted him gently. "Michael, I saw Rachel's message. Do I need to be worried?" He looked stunned, then immediately reached for her hands. "Emily, no. I promise you. I've been listening because she's been going through a hard time with David. But if it ever made you uncomfortable, I should have been more mindful." Emily studied his face and saw sincerity. She realized then that relationships weren't just about trust but also about communication and boundaries. Michael wasn't unfaithful, but he had crossed a line without realizing it, one that made Emily question his priorities. They agreed to set clearer boundaries with friends, making sure their emotional energy stayed focused on each other. Emily didn't want Michael to stop being kind, but she needed to know she was his first priority. Weeks later, Emily found herself once again watching Michael at another gathering. But this time, it felt different. She wasn't just admiring him from afar, she was watching with the assurance that their bond had grown stronger through honesty. One evening, as they sat on their porch, Emily said, "Do you remember when you told me you liked watching me? Well, now I get it. I like watching you, too. Not just how you are with others, but how you are with me. That's what matters." Michael smiled, resting his hand on hers. "Then I guess we're both lucky. Because I'll never stop watching you, Emily. You're my favorite story to see unfold. From that day forward, Emily no longer felt uneasy about his attention. Instead, she welcomed it, knowing that what they had was not fragile but resilient. They had faced doubts, confronted them, and chosen to grow closer. In the end, it wasn't about who watched whom. It was about love being strong enough to endure observation, admiration, mistakes, and forgiveness. Their story wasn't perfect, but it was real, and real was enough.